Howdy everybody, and welcome to Stock Show Confidential. This week, we're in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado. We're at the National Western Stock Show. Now we're fixing to head inside the barns and talk to some of the exhibitors and look at some of these fine animals. You know, they call it the granddaddy of them all. Let's head inside and see why. You know, whenever you need answers, it's always best to head to the top, and that's exactly what we're fixing to do. We're going to head over to Paul Andrews' office and let him educate us on the ins and outs of the Denver National Western Stock Show and Rodeo.
I had spent many years in the sports and entertainment business for the last 20 years myself, overseeing the business operations of the Denver Nuggets and Colorado Avalanche and 4 other venues primarily. About a year ago, when Mr. Grant decided to retire here, Pat Grant had been here for 20 years, I was fortunate enough to interview with the executive committee of the Western Stock Show Association and move into the capacity that I'm in today as president and CEO. And I'm often asked, since I came from the world of being a promoter and a manager of venues and sports teams, you know, how important is the yards going to be to the National Western while Paul Andrews is the president and CEO? And my answer is always the same thing. It is the centerpiece of what we are and what we do, and it will continue to be the centerpiece as long as I'm sitting in this chair. It started everything here, and it continues to be. As I walk the yards, I'm continually reminded by the exhibitors there that we are the Super Bowl of livestock shows. And right now we're currently working with both the mayor, and now he has currently turned over the process to what's known as DURA, which is the Denver Urban Renewal Authority. So we are working with DURA looking at all options, and those options include staying right where we are and expanding. They also include some other Denver options that are either nearby or maybe 5 to 10 miles away. And so I think the coming months will tell us where we stand with the city of Denver and DURA as we look at what might be the right option for both the city and us, because it will continue to be our intention to be in the city and county of Denver.
The Brown Hotel in Denver, Colorado has had guests from survivors of the Titanic to conservationists and presidents like Teddy Roosevelt. But today it's home to our favorite 4-legged friend.
Take the Grand Champion steer and the Reserve Champion steer to the Brown Palace. Been happening for a long time, and the Brown Palace being it's historic itself here in Denver. And that animal gets on display after it's chosen to be our Grand Champion. And so for the next day, for 2 hours, it is in the lobby around where people sit for tea and coffee.
Stock Show Confidential is brought to you by the following sponsors: Sullivan Show Supply and Stock Show University, SureChamp, Showmaster Feeds, StockShowConfidential.com, Rogers Ford, and Paragon Bed Covers.
Doc, being part of the crew and being around all those cameras all the time, I still can't get enough Stock Show Confidential. What should I do?
This is an increasingly common problem among people your age and has only one cure. I'm prescribing multiple doses of Stock Show Confidential, and watch past episodes and sponsor commercials. Read bios on Terry and the rest of the crew. Find out where they're going to be filming next. Look for familiar faces in the photo gallery, and find your next Grand Champion animal on Breeder's Corner.
Thanks, Doc. I feel better already.
Welcome back to Stockshow Confidential. You know, as we travel to these shows and walk these barns, we run into some incredible people. Well, we ran into a young lady by the name of Celine Spence. Let's let her and her grandparents tell you their story.
I'm Cheryl Spence and I'm from Fort Collins, Colorado. We've got 3 girls. They were in 4-H, so we were doing the poultry with them. And then we just kept raising them and just have been doing it ever since. Try to help all the kids out with 4-H and show them the different varieties of birds that there are, the different things they can do with the birds, whether it be egg production, breeding, showmanship, and showing of the birds for their quality and everything. So there's a lot of things that they can do with poultry, so we just got into it and stayed in it, and we'll probably be in it a long time because now our grandkids are coming up with poultry.
I'm a superintendent for National Western. Our bird show is on the first Monday. We had right at between 450 and 500 birds. We started showing here probably 15, 16 years ago. My granddaughter is 4.5. She's in a wheelchair. She shows here every year. She had a white leghorn bantam, a red leghorn bantam. They're the smaller breeds she can handle. She did win her class with them.
I'm here with Celine, and she won a blue ribbon at the National Western Stock Show. Now, Celine, tell me the name of your bird.
Tinkerbell.
It's Tinkerbell. So you have a lot of fun.
Okay.
And anybody can come do this, right?
Right.
You talk to all of these little boys and girls that come by, and you let them pet Tinkerbell? That is way neat.
Her name is Celine, and she really enjoys doing poultry. She has a lot of birds that she likes to play with. They make great pets. She has one now that I'm sure you'll probably see that she can just handle very, very well and do pretty much what she wants with it. She is disabled. She has transverse myelitis, which paralyzed her. She caught an infection, which didn't break outward, it went inward, and it settled in her spine, which made it swell. Well, the swelling put pressure on her spinal cord, which paralyzed her. She was 15 months old. She was just starting to walk and everything, and they don't know what it was caused from, whether it was a cold or if it was from her teething or what it was. It was just some sort of infection. On Celine, when she caught the disease, she was 15 months old. We took her down to Children's, and she was the 3rd case of anybody that young to get the transverse myelitis. The 2nd person her age was there at the hospital at the same time. So they had 2 at the same time, which was their 2nd and 3rd case. They weren't able to tell us whether she'd be able to walk again or anything because they hadn't really experienced it in a child that small yet. Usually it hits kids from 8 and up. And at that point in time, you know, they already know how to walk, they know how to do things to where their therapy, when they go back to trying to walk again, it's a very well, you know, they can start walking again pretty well, but they never did know with a child that small because she didn't have the knowledge completely of walking or anything like that yet. The birds are definitely therapy for her. It wants her to get up, get out, go out and want to feed them, water them, pet them, take care of them. So it's very good therapy for her.
I enjoy the poultry, I enjoy the different people. There's a lot of people that's never touched a bird, never seen this many kinds of birds. I'm here to educate everybody on the different kinds of birds. It's fun.
Celine's a prime example of not letting disabilities hold you back from your goals. Coming up next, we're going to take you down to the stockyards and see what all it has to offer. You know, raising and competing show animals takes more than good nutrition. It takes determination, dedication, and hard work, traits that are hallmarks to leaders. And that's why Showmaster is proud to feed the potential of the youth leaders through their educational programs, award programs, and support of the 4-H and FFA. Showmaster Feed continues to build the legacy of building champions through their innovative feed programs and nutritional research. Showmaster Feeds. Feed their potential. Well, folks, we're here at the historic Stockyards in Denver, Colorado, part of the National Western. Now, when we talk about the Stockyards, a lot of people refer to it just as the yard, as the old-timers might say, but it started back in 1906. They had 336 animals here at the National Western. That has grown today to a little over 12,000 entries, one of the premier livestock shows in the United States. So anytime that you get the chance to get up to the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado, be sure not only check out the National Western, make a stop by the yards. You'll not want to miss it. Well, folks, we're standing here in the yak pen at the National Western Stock Show. Along beside me is Bob Stuflik, one of the breeders of these fine animals. And Bob, tell me a little bit about the yak and where they came from.
Well, these are Tibetan yak, and there's thousands and probably millions of them in Tibet. We pack them. In fact, Maya here last year at the stock show, she won the outfitting contest.
What were these originally? Is that what they were originally bred for, is to pack into the mountains of Tibet?
You know, they use them in Tibet like the Indians used to use buffalo. I mean, we went with a nomadic family for a while. They use the long guard here, fiber here, to make their tents and their ropes. And then they use the down in here, the cashmere down, the cashmere quality down in there to make all their felting stuff. So they raise them for just about anything, and then they milk them.
Okay.
They make good milk.
Well, you told me a moment ago that, you know, they look relatively docile in here, but you said they're actually kind of a wild animal.
If you leave them out on a ranch and don't play with them, they get wild. Yeah.
Well, good luck here at the National Western. We wish you the best of luck. Thanks for taking time to talk to us. When we talk about a tradition that's famous for the United States, well, you can go no further than talk about the American bison, or the buffalo. At one point in time, they roamed the plains of Nebraska and hunted to almost extinction. Well, behind me, you see one of these magnificent animals. You know, only 15,000 total individuals are considered wild bison in the natural range within North America. To date, there's only about 500,000 of these magnificent animals in commercial population. 90% of it is owned by private individuals. You know, the Indians used them for food, shelter, clothing. But not only that, a famous president by the name of Teddy Roosevelt saved the animal from extinction. When we talk about the buffalo, you know, they've been described as wild and ungovernable temper. They can jump about 6 foot vertically and run between 35 and 40 miles an hour. The demand for buffalo meat has grown substantially in the United States because of its leanness and because of it being low in cholesterol. And the demand for this meat has turned the American bison into one of the fastest growing commodities in the American agricultural industry. Well, just like in the human society, livestock vaccinations are awfully important when it comes to stock show animals. Let's take you over to Brock Veterinary Clinic and hear from one of their experts on a vaccination program. Dr. McAfee, on Stockshow Confidential, we've asked some of our fans to log on Facebook or on our website and ask us some questions. Well, we've got a question coming from a young man from down in Round Rock, Texas by the name of Hayden Tucker, and he wants to know the proper time and when he should vaccinate, you know, like a show steer.
Okay, so vaccination, very important in preventing disease. We got a couple categories of vaccines, one for respiratory diseases and another for clostridial and other type bacterial diseases. So that's two broad categories. So typically the viruses that we vaccinate for are IBR, PI3, BRSV, and BVD. But these respiratory viruses are very important to vaccinate for and show animals that are traveling and exposed to large populations of animals, because that's where they pick up these things. The main thing in these animals is to start early and to properly booster their vaccine. So if you purchase them from a reputable breeder, you want to make sure that they're vaccinated prior to picking them up so you don't have sickness on hauling them home and getting them into a new environment. Blackleg is another important one. It's a whole category of clostridial diseases. They can cause sudden death. These bugs live in the dirt and form from spores, and so they're always there and always a big threat. So you want to give at least one of those in a booster, and then booster that once a year thereafter, prior to when you're starting to feed and show these animals.
Well, you know, if somebody's not sure whether this calf has had the proper vaccines, is it okay to go ahead and give it to them again?
Yes, it's never hurts to go ahead and vaccinate again if you're not sure. At the worst, you're just not gonna, the animal doesn't really need it, but there are very little negative effects from giving these vaccines again. Even if they've had them recently, it doesn't make much difference really.
Well, one thing that people do need to do, obviously, is they need to check with whatever show that they're going to make sure that they're within the time frame for those injections once they've given one of those, because at some of the shows, you know, obviously they will do a drug test.
Exactly. Typically the biological products are not a big problem as far as testing at shows, but always read the label. Anything that you're giving to a show animal, read the label and check with the proper resources to make sure that those shots are not going to cause any trouble with withdrawal times.
Well, you know, if you always have questions about anything, be sure and contact your local vet. Don't take it upon yourself to try to treat these animals. These guys are experts, they know what they're doing, and you ought to always talk with your local veterinarian about any type of injection that you're having or any problems that you're having.
I'm Dr. Dustin McElwee with Brock Vet Clinic, Lamesa, Texas. If you have further questions or would like more information on Ask the Vets here, please look up www.stockshowconfidential.com.
Be sure and check out stockshowconfidential.com. Now, if you have an interesting story, we'd like to hear about it. And also be sure and check out our Breeders' Corner. We have the top goat, pig, lamb, and steer breeders listed there. Check it out.
Feed the bugs. When you feed your cows, a well-functioning rumen with a healthy population of good bacteria and fungi is the foundation of a profitable cow herd. So how do you unlock the potential of the rumen? With Amifirm. Amifirm is a natural feed additive that fortifies products like VitaFirm and SureChamp. Best of all, research shows it actually increases beneficial bug populations by 15%. VitaFirm, SureChamp, and Amifirm. This stuff is good.
Well, here at the Denver National Western, we ran into an unusual breed of cattle called Wagu. Let's hear from Mike Beatty and Mark Hogue and see what they think about this unique breed of cattle.
Hi, my name's Mike Beatty. I'm the Executive Director of the American Wagu Association. I started this position nearly 12 months ago. I came from Australia, where I spent 5 years managing the Wagu Association down under. I believe that this breed can offer an awful lot to the American cattlemen. The meat quality is number one. It is regarded as the most expensive and the best beef in the world. Putting them over Angus, Hereford, other breeds, F1s and percentage cattle. As you can see, these animals are really regarded like a fine bone Angus. They are a derived composite. They were stabilised. They're actually a Japanese breed stabilised about 140 years ago. And as you can see, they have a good bone structure. They actually yield very well. And really it's what lies underneath the skin that says it all. These guys really take out the carcass competitions. They produce an awful lot of marbling. The fineness of marbling is very important to this breed, but we have a lot of large commercial producers. These animals here from Morgan Ranch, they're one of the larger Wagyu producers here in the US. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that the breed has been recognised here at the National Western. We've had quite a number of breeders who have actually shown cattle here over the last few years, but this is the first time we're actually holding a show this Wednesday. We have over 50 entries and we're pretty excited. This breed can offer an awful lot to improve meat quality here in the US. You can go to our website, which is just www.wagyu.org, or look us up on the web, and we're pretty easy to find.
I've been involved in the breeding of these cattle, but currently I'm general manager of a very large Wagyu beef company out of southern Florida called Jackman, Florida Natural Wagyu Beef. I probably been marketing this beef longer than anybody in this country. I was involved with the first herd of Wagyu cattle, the entire herd that came into this country, and eventually was located in East Texas. I got involved with the Cosettes, Jack and Jerry, mainly because of my expertise just being in this industry as long as I have. Coming here and getting Reserve Grand Champion Bull, you know, that kind of puts them on the map. So I do some consulting work with people like Jack and Jerry. There's been 2 times in the history of this breed in America that they've actually brought seed stock over from Japan. In 1994 and 1998, 2 different times, and they usually refer back to the 94 as being the old genetics of Wagyu that came from Japan, and in 98 the new genetics that came from Japan. Most of the bloodlines that you'll see at this show are the new genetics. The American Wagyu Association, they have a site, AmericanWagyuAssociation.com. The Cosettes just opened up their website, and it is www.gvwagyu.com.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us this week on Stock Show Confidential. We're going to bring you back to Denver next week for another exciting episode, and until then, here's hoping that we'll see you in the winner's circle.